Well, it is finally that time to pick some Big 12 college football games. Welcome to a brand new episode of Conference Chatter TV. My name is Eric Sorrentino. I'm the KUSports.com Big 12 blogger, and the countdown is over. It is finally that time. Big 12 kicks off tonight with Iowa State playing host to Northern Illinois, and it's time to make some picks for Week 1 of the Big 12 season in college football. I'm here to pick every game in the Big 12 here on Conference Chatter TV. That's what we'll do here every week on this video. And the goal is to eclipse last year's total of 81-24. I'm going to try to do that. I'm hopeful that I can eclipse that mark of last year. We'll see if we can do it, but it's finally that time, so let's get down to it and pick some games in Week 1 of the Big 12 season. It starts with Iowa State playing host to Northern Illinois. I'm going to go ahead and take the Cyclones for my first pick of 2010. I think at home against Northern Illinois, they should win. They're 5-point favorites. Northern Illinois, a pretty solid team. In fact, they were picked to win the Mid-American Conference's West Division this season. So, they're no slouch, but I think Iowa State at home should win that one. The rest of the games in Week 1 will take place on Saturday, and I'm going to have a little bit of order here in picking these games because there's a few that are just very obvious picks, starting with Western Kentucky at Nebraska on Saturday. The Huskers are favored by 37.5 points. They should just dominate this game. I think if I played quarterback, they'd honestly have a chance to win this game. But it should be interesting to see who Nebraska starts at quarterback. Zach Lee, Cody Green, or Taylor Martinez. Bo Pelini has not announced that yet. It could come later this today or tomorrow or whenever, but as of Thursday afternoon, we still do not know who Nebraska will start. But the Huskers, opening in Lincoln, they should win this game by about 40 to 50 points. Should be over early. Next, we have Utah State at Oklahoma on Saturday at 6 p.m. Oklahoma's favored by 34 points. They're going to just dominate this game. There's really no need to even break anything down here. The Sooners have won 30 straight games at home, and Saturday will make it 31. So we're going with OU, obviously, over that Utah State team. Texas at Rice, 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. The Longhorns won't have any trouble winning this. They're 30-point favorites and will probably win by more than that. Again, not much analysis needed for this one. Texas has won the past 10 meetings against Rice, 8 in a row under Mac Brown. It doesn't really matter that UT is starting on the road in Houston. They'll have plenty of UT fans on hand for that one, maybe even more so than Rice. Who knows? But Texas will run away with this one. It will not even be close. North Dakota State at Kansas, 6 p.m. on Saturday. Another one that should easily go in the favor of the Big 12. Kansas should run away with this one, in my opinion. North Dakota State, an FCS opponent, 3-8 last season. It just shouldn't be close in Lawrence. Jayhawks rolling big in their first game. A couple of these now get a little bit interesting. Those were kind of that was kind of the first tier of obvious choices. Now we get into some of them that should be a little bit closer. Starting with Illinois against Missouri in St. Louis, 11:30 a.m. Saturday. Missouri favored by 11.5. I'm going with the Tigers in this. I think that they're going to beat Illinois. They've done it. They've won the last 5 games against Illinois, and I know the Derek Washington being dismissed from the team. Certainly a hit. I don't think it's a catastrophic hit, though, for Missouri. They still have some guys in Moore and in Lawrence who can certainly pick up the pace. They're not as good as Washington was, but it could have been worse for Missouri. I think that they have the depth at running back to not be hurt entirely by this. I think Missouri's hurt by this move, but they should still get past Illinois and St. Louis and win this game. I'm going with Missouri in that. The next game, Colorado against Colorado State in Denver. 1 p.m. on Saturday. The Buffaloes favored by 12. And I'm going with the Big 12 again in this. I'm going with Colorado to win this game. It was a tough season last year for Colorado. And, this one in Denver, I think that the Buffs can get off to a pretty good start with Tyler Hansen under quarterback and beat Colorado State. This is a game that Colorado should win. And I don't think they'll have quite as difficult a year as last year. So I look for Colorado to prevail in the opener there. I think the biggest toss-up game that involves a Big 12 team in Week 1 is right here. UCLA at K-State. 2:30 p.m. on ABC Saturday here. The line only K-State by 1.5. I'm going to go with the home team here and pick Kansas State. This is the second game of a home-and-home series between these two teams. UCLA, won last year. I think K-State will be out for some revenge from that aspect, and I think they'll be at home. Give the ball to Daniel Thomas, make them stop him, and give it to your workhorse and let him do some work. I think that K-State will prevail with this one at home. I'm going with the Cats, just very slightly, but I think that K-State will win that game. Sam Houston State at Baylor. Not aligned for this one since Sam Houston State's an FCS opponent. I'm going with Baylor in this. I think that at home they should have no problem. Robert Griffin certainly will be interesting to track his progress and see just how far he has come from that ACL injury that made him miss the majority of last season. But I don't think Baylor should have any problem at home. Stephen F. Austin at Texas A&M. Again, the line on this there wasn't one, and actually I should have bumped this one back up to that obvious gimme game. A&M is going to roll in this game. They should win huge. In fact, the last time I was looking this up, that Stephen Austin played a team of national relevance, they were hammered by TCU 67-7 in 2008. So A&M, Gerard Johnson, that offense, rolling big in that first game. Got two more here. Washington State at Oklahoma State, 6 p.m. on Saturday. Cowboys favored by 16. I'm going with the Big 12. I'm going with Oklahoma State in this. They should absolutely win in Stillwater. Washington State, I know they're in Pac-10. I know they're a BCS team from a BCS conference rather, but they were pretty dreadful these last couple seasons. They finished in the past 2 years toward the bottom of the Pac-10. They've won a combined 3 games in the past 2 seasons. Oklahoma State shouldn't have any problem at home against Washington State in that one. Final game will actually be Sunday, SMU at Texas Tech, 2:30 p.m. I'm going with the Red Raiders to make it a clean sweep. I hope I'm not viewed as too much of a Big 12 homer here, but I really think that a clean sweep is not only possible but should be expected. I think the Big 12 should prevail and go 12-0 in this first week, and Texas Tech should be the last team to emerge victorious in week 1. They're favored by 2 touchdowns. I think that's pretty fair. The first game under Tommy Tuberville, it should be interesting to see, how much he makes an effort to run the football. He said that would be a point of emphasis for the Red Raiders. Baron Batch, I expect him to get anywhere, in that first game they should have a lead. Let's see if he gets 20, 25 carries in week 1. I certainly don't expect him to run the ball more than they pass, but Mike Leach ran the ball the fewest amount of times, or the fewest percent of the time of any Big 12 team last season, and I don't expect that to be the case with Tommy Tuberville. So we'll see what happens, but I think Texas Tech will come out and win that game in week 1. Well, that should do it. I'm pulling for 12-0. Let's see if it happens. I think it will. You'll have to excuse me. My voice is a little bit under the weather, as you could probably tell. Just coming back from being a little sick. Had a little summer cold there, but hopefully by the time I reflect on these games after the weekend, I should be back to full 100%. We'll see. Enjoy, guys. Enjoy the games this season. This is one of the most exciting times of the year. It's week 1 in the Big 12. Hope everybody has a nice weekend. Enjoy the games, and I'll be back this weekend to reflect on how the games went. I'm Eric Sorrentino. Thanks, guys, for checking out this edition of Conference Chatter TV. I'm signing off, and I'll talk to you in a few days.